Welcome back. Joining us in the studio is Nikki Dolling, the Program Manager for the non-profit enterprise Free to Feed, which offers cooking classes taught by newly arrived refugees, and Nayran Tabiei, one of the initiative's resident chefs previously from Syria. Thank you both so much for coming on the show.
Thank you.
Nikki, can you tell us a bit more about what Free to Feed is and how the initiative started?
Sure. Daniel and Loretta are the founders, and it actually started at their kitchen table about 2.5 years ago. Nayran actually was one of the original chefs that joined them, and they from their own table and went out to other people's houses and were running cooking classes with Hamed and Nayran. And the venture over time grew as the classes became popular, and we ended up with our own venue, which was really exciting about a year ago, where we run cooking classes from there as well, but people can come in and do community classes or corporate cooking classes. We now do a bit of catering, and now we've got a second venue, which we've just opened in the last 6 months.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
And Nayran, do you mind giving us a bit about your background on your previous life in Syria and how you came to Australia?
I was working as a chef, and I had my business and it grew, but after the war, I just moved to Australia.
And you're doing well so far.
Thank you.
Where does your love of cooking come from?
When I was kid, I start to, we are famous in dough, but I start to do the dough.
Yep.
With my family, of course, grandma, and it grow. I become chef and I study.
Lovely.
Yeah.
Nikki, how does Free to Feed find chefs like Nayran who have recently arrived in Australia and have a strong background in cooking and entrepreneurship?
Yeah, it's amazing because all of our chefs have all talented cooks. So we're not training anyone how to cook, they all know how to do that.
Yep.
We're providing them with a platform not only to start their employment history in Australia, but also to join their community. So we have sourced through a number of different organisations, Asylum Seekers Resource Centre, Brotherhood of St Lawrence. We've joined with them to make sure that we're finding the right talent to come in and teach with us, and not only teach us how to cook, but teach us about their culture, about their food, about their experience being a refugee as well.
Yeah. How would you both describe the impact that the cultural experiences offered by Free to Feed have had on both the resident chefs and on the participants who take part?
When we gather, we share the story. And we bring the idea about culture. And we share, some people, they go to Middle East and they share their idea, how they feel about it. When I ask all the time a question, what do you know about asylum seeker? What you know our culture? Why we have similarity, what the spices we use, all about culture, the history. Yesterday I had class and we discussed about culture and the history and how many years we be in contact with all world, as a Syrian, and they don't know anything about Syria at far away and just the war. But we start to understand what's happening there.
Yeah.
I think the classes aim to break down a number of barriers, and the barriers go in both directions. There's barriers around joining a new community, trying to find your place within that, and not just about employment, but also having someone to listen to your story, which is what the classes provide. But it also provides a platform for those within the community to access information about those cultures in a way that Melbourneites love, because it involves food and brunch and shakshuka, and so it just brings them together over something that they really enjoy, and then they can share conversations around things that might be a little bit more difficult to have just in a day-to-day environment.
Of course, yeah. Nayran, what do you think of the Middle Eastern food in Melbourne, and do you have a favourite restaurant to go to?
Of course I love it. The thing that's, because I'm cooking the same food, all the time I'm trying another food. But Middle East especially, I go to the kebabs, and because we are kebab lover. And we have special restaurant we go, a lot of name, and it's my favorite. And when I cook it, I share the love that we gather as a family.
Of course, yeah. Nikki, how's the program grown since its launch? In what ways can viewers watching at home support the initiative?
Well, of course, the main way they can support the initiative is to come along to a cooking class,
Of course.
which is the easiest way to do that. Interestingly, we've had one of the ways that we've grown in the last 6 months in particular, now that we have a larger venue, is we're having more workplaces come in and bring their people in for team building exercises. And most of that's come from people who've actually gone to one of our community classes.
Yeah.
We've had it in their home, and they've gone, this is something that I think we need to share as a workplace. And that means we're kind of accessing a whole different audience, people that wouldn't normally hear the messages that we're talking about. And so it's probably spreading the word in a different way and kind of broadening that community as well.
Yeah. And just lastly, before we have to go, Nayran, what do you love about cooking and what can people expect from one of your classes?
Sharing the love, that's the main thing in my classes, and the happiness. I give them more appreciation, more like to appreciate what they have, their roof, their dish, the happiness with their family, because when they come to, for example, the brunch in Sunday, they go with happiness, the best day in my life. I understand that you suffer, but we don't want to suffer. We like as unity, because I'm leading for unity all the time and happiness. That we share the idea, cooking and happiness, and share the culture, share the story.
Yeah, and on the back of that, Nikki, do you share that passion?
Oh, absolutely. I'm the luckiest person in the world. I get to combine two of my favourite things, working with new Australians and food.
That's a lovely attitude to have. I wish we weren't, but unfortunately we're running out of time. But thank you both so much for coming on the show and for the incredible work you're doing with Free to Feed. When we get back from the break, we'll share some advice from a traveller about the best things to see, do and eat when in Jordan.